and welcome back to the Business Real Talk and our 4-part content series. So far, we've talked about the importance of having a strategy that drives your content. We've covered how demand angles are the foundation of that strategy and help you develop hyper-specific trigger points that move people into action. And this week, we're going to talk all about how you can use what we call visual ROI statements and how you can actually leverage them to create a deep resonance that makes conversions easy. Now, every time I sit down to talk about visual statements, I start singing, "Let's get visual, visual," like the Olivia Newton-John song, just so you can get a backseat into my brain. But let's jump into it. Tell me if you can ever relate to this. There's a specific drink I love from Trader Joe's, a grocery chain out here in California. It's these single-serve cans of pineapple juice. Now, don't knock it until you try it. It's so good. Now, whenever I'm out of it, I immediately start planning when I'm going to go back and get some more. Now, the danger in this is that I plan to go in and just buy the drink and maybe one other thing, usually hearts of palm, which would only add up to like $10. But somehow it seems I can't escape going to the grocery store without spending almost $200. Why? Once I get there, I see a bunch of other stuff I need for the house. And then they're always going to have their new things to try section that just calls to me. And then when I'm waiting in the checkout line, they have those impulse buy items that I have to just throw into my cart. So I think I'm going to go in, it'll be a short $10 trip, and I end up spending $200 and being an hour later. Damn you, Trader Joe. Now, here's the thing. Your business is not a grocery store, but the biggest mistake people make is trying to market like one. In this example, I use that there's 4 main categories that I mentioned. The single serve pineapple juice, that thing that you go in for. I knew I wanted it, and it was the only reason I actually went to the grocery store. I will not leave without this thing, and I will always budget for it in my life. Now, number 2 is the, oh yeah, that's right, we need this 2 items. Once you remind me and I realize that we need it. Number 3 is the, oh, that looks fun to try. The stuff that sparks my curiosity, those things that are not a must and totally could be cut out of my budget. And then there are those novelty impulse buys. Obviously, I don't need these things at all. And they're the first things to get cut out of the budget if we need to save somewhere. Now, in this scenario, you want to market your business like you're that single serve pineapple juice, not an impulse buy, not a purchase where you need to remind or educate the consumer that this is something that you need, not a gimmick or a novelty. You always want to be the purchase in a customer's life that they go into the store looking for, the thing that they can't live without and they need right now. This is what I call a high intent buyer. Most people use marketing that actually speaks to everyone and therefore speaks to no one. They are trying to educate their audience on the problem they solve instead of marketing to the people who already know the problem. They have an awareness of some solutions out there. They're the people who are seeking out solutions, but they're looking for the right solution that's going to fit their need. This is where visual statements enter the picture. Now, visual statements allow your audience to see how your solution is going to uniquely solve a specific problem that they have. And it shows them not only how you can solve it, but more importantly, it allows them to instantly visualize and see themselves incorporating your solution and experiencing the success from incorporating that. That is the difference maker. So, recapping on what we've learned so far with demand angles allow you to create a very specific problem that you're going to speak to. Now, our visual statements are what are going to allow us to create something so visual that they're going to be able to almost feel and taste and see the version of success that they would get working directly with you. Now, your audience may realize that you're exactly what they're looking for, but if they cannot easily envision themselves achieving success using your solution, then fear will always hold them back from taking action. This is especially true when you're attempting to sign premium clients for a high-ticket service or product. Of course, it's an investment and it requires them to really think deeply on whether or not you're the right solution. And it becomes even more important in an industry where so many people have been burned, lied to, or not had their expectations met. They are often coming to you with a level of distrust. So if they can't visualize success, those past experiences, those insecurities and doubt will oftentimes win out, and they'll think to themselves, I'm not sure if I'm ready. All too often, we give people all of the ingredients, but we never give them the visuals that allow their imagination to see, smell, and taste what the meal will look like when it's all put together and on their plate. So let me give you some examples and see if you can spot the differences here. For a lot of us, a big part of success or payoff of implementing your solution is that people will get some sort of lifestyle freedom. Now, a vague or non-visual way to explain this is the program that will finally give you the financial success, but allow you to finally have the lifestyle freedom you've always wanted. This is nice, but it's also very vague. Instead, we want to leverage visual statements so that it looks a little something like this. And that is how you'll be able to spend a random Tuesday afternoon playing hooky with your kids and your partner who you retired because you're making bank, and you all are at the beach while you read your favorite book and your kids splash around in the ocean. That right there is a visual statement. You can see it, you can hear it, you can feel it. Hell, you can damn near smell the beach in the distance while you read it. By evoking their imagination, they're able to experience it as if it's happening to them. In other words, it creates the kind of resonance and connection that they can feel in their bones and they can't stop thinking about. Now, I want you to think of it like this. Have you ever seen a scary movie where the masked villain just jumps out and not only scares the character in the movie, but you kind of jump too? And then when you go to bed, you triple check all the locks on the doors. You look under the bed because you're still a little frightened. And let's be real, maybe you even leave the light on. At least I do. Or maybe you've watched a movie where the main character is the underdog. And by the end, you're on your feet cheering them on as they triumph over everything that got in their way. And even the next day, you're still thinking about how happy you are for them, that they finally made it. Here's the thing. In both of those cases, your mind, your body, your nervous system are reacting to something that actually isn't true. In reality, it's a movie. It is fiction. It is storytelling. But thanks to our imaginations, we experience storytelling as reality. Our bodies interpret the storytelling as if it's happening to us right here and right now. Visual statements utilize this powerful storytelling device and give you a practical tool that you can use inside your marketing right now. Visual statements allow us to create a world through storytelling where your client is the main character and the success they have always wanted is finally coming true. And just like the movie, their senses, their body, their nervous system will experience that story as if it's happening right now. And just like a good movie, it's going to stay with them. They'll think of it when they go to bed. They'll think of it the next morning. They'll carry your visual statement with them everywhere they go. And that's exactly how my clients get DMs and texts from leads saying, oh my gosh, I'm ready to get started. Can I please get on your calendar right now? Because you're not really selling a product, your offer. You're selling the feeling of what happens when they succeed with your product or your offer. So let me break down the formula behind visual statements and how this actually works in your business. Now, there's two core factors that we need to have in place in order for this formula to work. Number one is we need to identify the result your client achieves when working with you, AKA the ROI. Now, the important thing behind this is it needs to be specific and tangible. So using a mindset coach as an example, which is usually my intangibles, and my clients who have the most difficult time with this are those who sell intangibles. Now, we're going to use the example of stepping on stage in front of thousands of people. That is a result that can occur as a result of them working with you as a mindset coach. Now, that is the simplistic but very specific and tangible result of working with a mindset coach. Now, what we want to do is take that and identify the way that result makes your client feel when they achieve it. So I'm going to share with you a visual statement that really identifies this so that you can see what it feels like. You're going to create the confidence so you can step on stage in front of thousands of people watching you and cheering you on as you deliver a speech that leaves people talking for weeks to come, and you realize this is what you were always meant for. Tell me that doesn't give you some chills. That doesn't start letting your brain look for and identify what that would look like and feel like for you and your world. Now, the really key factor of this, and the number one complaint I hear from people who find a little bit of resistance towards this, is that they think, but what if I say that and it's only speaking to one person. Now, the coolest thing about this and the way our brains work and the psychology behind this is when you share something that's visual and is really deeply resonant with someone, it doesn't actually matter if that's their version of success. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you're a mindset coach and the person you're looking to work with doesn't necessarily want to get on stage in front of thousands of people, and they don't really care about delivering a speech that keeps people talking for weeks to come. Now, what ends up happening is whether or not that person cares about the result you're specifically creating a visual statement for, their brain is going to create their own version of this. It's magical. It's incredible, which means that even when you use a visual statement and it's not directly applicable to the person listening, their brain is going to start looking for a version of that that applies to them, effectively creating a ripple effect to the message you've created, allowing them to create a deep resonance in the story they've created of their own. Just like when you watch a movie and you see the underdog, you start to identify your own underdog story. You start to think about what that looks like for you. Now, I've helped so many of my clients do this, and it's one of the biggest game changers. But one of my clients that comes to mind is my incredible client, Courtney, who's actually been working with me since 2020. She came to me, she was really exhausted. She was selling a $27 offer as a weight loss coach, and people just weren't buying, and she was exhausted, to say the least. We took her fluffy messaging and we used visual statements to bring it to life. And now she has people in her DMs saying yes to a $1,500 offer without even getting on a sales call. They can feel it through her content. She can make it visual enough that that person on the other side of the computer is starting to see it for themselves and they can't stop thinking about it. So they come to her saying, "This is it, what I've always needed. How can I sign up?" That urgent demand where we're pre-sold doesn't come simply from me talking about the facts and stats and features of my program. It comes from visual statements. And I see it with every single moment that I spend on social media and on blogs. I see people talking about the mechanisms, the features, the things that they believe to be important to the success of their clients. But the reality is, again, people aren't buying into the features and benefits. They're not buying into the mechanisms. They're buying into the result that you can provide them, but more importantly, how it feels in their bones to experience that result. That storytelling is what gets into their bones. It creates that deep and impactful resonance, and it allows them to experience the success they've always wanted in real time, as if it's happening to them right now. And then connect that experience to your product or service and says, ready for that feeling to come true? Do you want this mental movie you're experiencing to be real? Then here is how. This is why my clients and myself have sales calls that are no longer than 30 minutes. It's why I'm not spending hours on a call or multiple calls with people saying, okay, let me just think about it, or asking, can I see some testimonials or proof? Because they're pre-sold, meaning they already feel successful before they even have a conversation with me. They already feel the success that they're striving for has actually happened already, and that my product has gotten them success. They cannot stop thinking about it. And they feel it in their body and their mind, and they interpret it as if it's already happened. And visual statements create that link for them. This link between their feelings of success and your product or service. And now that they've seen it, they can't unsee it. Now that they felt it, they can't unfeel it. They want it and they want it now. It creates a direct correlation to that, oh my God, I want to get signed up right now because I want to get started on the path that now I can see so clearly. Doubt, fear, and that can I think about it feeling just completely dissipate. No more, I need to talk to my partner. Can I schedule another call? All of this is coming from the fact that we make it hard for people to create a visual, or the visual we create is vague or fluffy or super general, and they don't know how to experience that. They don't know how to believe that to be true for themselves. Or we give them tons of features and benefits, and we expect them to understand how those features and benefits relate to the result they want, the return on investment, the feeling of achieving the goal that they've had for themselves. That lack of clarity creates confusion, and confusion creates doubt, and doubt kills the sale. When you combine visual statements with demand angles, you become unstoppable, my friend. This is where I say, if you're ever stuck, start here. create your demand angles, and then look at the visual statements, the ROI of working with you, and just watch the magic unfold. But the question becomes, how do you actually create a system that optimizes all the things we talked about here so far? Understanding the strategy, understanding how to take those demand angles and those visual statements, and doesn't just become more work or an idea in the back of our head. This is where my one-touch content system comes into play. And let me tell you, this has revolutionized how marketing and content strategy is done. It's exactly what I'm going to break down for you next week on our episode. So you're not going to want to miss out on this. Make sure you turn your notifications on, make sure you subscribe, make sure you rate, make sure you're ready, because I guarantee you this is going to change everything about what you're doing right now. And we're going to talk all about what this looks like next week on our episode. Now, I want to leave you with this little piece of information. If you're listening to this and over the last couple of weeks, you've been identifying for yourself that maybe your content strategy is missing, and maybe you don't have a system that leverages how people make decisions, takes into account the specific and tangible results that they can create. It doesn't clearly articulate the message you have. Nonetheless, get in front of the right people and get them to a state of being ready to buy. And you're thinking to yourself, I just want my content to do the heavy lifting for me. I just want to show up, and I want the marketing and the efforts that I put into my business to produce the result I want, which is clients signing up with you, clients ready to do the work, clients who want the transformation that you are ready to provide. If that's you, I have a special invitation for you. I want to invite you to what I call my client acquisition audit. This client acquisition audit is just me and you sitting on a call where what we're going to do is we're going to actually review your current process for how you bring clients into your business. I'm going to help you on this short call identify where the biggest gaps and biggest optimization points are so that you can start attracting high intent, ready to buy clients who want to say yes. And I'm going to show you how my Easy Yes method, how my one-touch content system, and the entire client acquisition process I support my clients in developing, building, and scaling can be leveraged in your business here and now. So that your 5-year goals become your 6-month goals, and you start attracting clients who are a hell yes before they even get on a sales call, and you can actually serve the clients who are meant for you. And stop spending all your time on marketing and content and learning hacks and tactics and things that you constantly have to reinvent. If that's you, I want you to head over to easyesleads.com/call. Now, I want to be honest, this call is for those of you who are ready to take action, who know that your success is not optional, and you have carved out the time and the space to make the next step in your business. And if you're not sure and you're on the fence and you are thinking to yourself, I want to get on a call, Naz, but I just need a little bit more time, then I want to invite you to send me a message. Go over to Facebook, to TikTok, to Instagram, wherever you are. You can go to Next Level Up CEO, or you can find me on my personal page on Facebook, and we'll link all that information in the show notes. Send me a message and just drop me a line and say, Naz, I listened to your content series and I'm really intrigued and I want to learn more. Tell me those things and tell me what you've been going through and what you're experiencing. And I'll tell you point blank whether or not I think I can support you and whether or not I think this is a good fit for you to take the next step with me. So until next time, let's keep it real and let's get to this point where you are leveraging your marketing and your content strategy, and you're being strategic about bringing in clients who are a hell yes, who can visualize and feel in their bones that you are the person they need. So you stop wasting time on all the things that aren't moving your business forward.